So you watched my last video on how to do a gait analysis to determine where your dog is lame. Today we're going to talk about a few different ways that you can isolate more precisely where the injury or lameness is coming from. Welcome to Canine Wellness Online. I'm Tania Costa and I'm a canine physio for dogs. I've been doing rehab for over 20 years. So today, let's talk about one of the most frustrating things. Your dog is limping. You go to the vet. And of course, he's not limping when you go to the vet. And your vet says, here's some Medicam and take that for 10 days and see if it goes away. So you saw in my last video how to do a gait analysis. So today we're going to fine tune that and get a little bit more precise about where exactly the injury is coming from. So the first thing you're going to do is assess for heat. You want to assess for heat because heat is usually indicative of something going on or inflammation in an area. So you've done your gait analysis and you said, okay, it's the back right leg. So now what you want to do is make sure that you use this part of your hand. The reason you don't want to use the palm of your hand is because it's so used to touching things, it's not as sensitive as the back side. And often with my clients, because they're not used to touching and feeling for heat, this side will give you a better chance of feeling for heat. So one recommendation here is, if it is the back right leg, as an example, check also the other side, so the good side. Because when you feel the good side first, and you don't feel anything, and then you run your hand down the right side, which you think might be the issue, you might have a better chance of feeling the difference. And oftentimes I will run both hands down both sides of the dog at the same time to see if I can feel a difference. The second way to assess for lameness, and this speaks more to if you can't detect it on a gait analysis, is you're going to put them in what's called a stacked position. So you know that show doggy position where all legs are square, like in this video. So now you're asking, what does the show dog have to do with assessing my dog for an injury or lameness? Well, check out this video. I want to show you with my dog Jake, who's almost 13, who has some arthritis in his left hind, how when we have them try to get them in a stacked position and we try and move a limb, they will readjust. There. So if I bring this leg here, you can see at the back here, he hasn't got full weight on that foot. And if I try and reposition it so that both feet are even, he's going to want to constantly move it forward. And the reason for that is because he has some arthritis in that back left foot. We want to also look at the top line, so nice and straight here. And you can see he can't quite hold this. When I put him in proper stacked position, he can't quite hold that position. He will try to readjust, especially if I move his head. See how he has to move his feet. So that's what we're looking at in terms of angles. Now, if we look at Ben, and we see here, he's got nice placement. I can move his feet here. He just thinks this is awfully odd. And I hold his head, and if I move his head one way or the other way, he's not trying to readjust at all. One of the other things we can look at is if we go to lift a foot, he thinks he's been bad, but he hasn't been. If I go to lift his right leg, he shouldn't have to move anything. And I move it back a little bit and forward. And I move this back a little bit and back to that same position. And you notice he doesn't adjust anywhere in his spine. He doesn't adjust his front feet or his back feet. His tail stays the same. And we'll see what happens when I lift this foot Same thing. And then I lift his left foot and put it back down. So one of the things you may notice is if they have, like Jake did, he has something going on in his left back leg. If I go to lift his left leg, it's light as a feather. And when I go to lift the right leg on Jake, it's like lifting a brick. So that tells me that he's compensating for something. Now you have an idea of 3 things you can do to see where your dog is limping. We've got the gait analysis from part 1, and today we discussed feeling for heat, as placing their feet and seeing when we lift a leg, do they have to readjust. It doesn't tell you exactly where it's coming from, but it will tell you that there's a compensation going on somewhere as well. So thank you all for watching.